Wow, that didn't take long. Okay, we'll be back on.
All right, second attempt at this. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the semi-finals day here at the Nordic Snooker Championship from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House in Copenhagen in Denmark. My name is Ralph Lorex, and we've just started in the first semi-final here, and I'm joined by Mr. David Frew. Good morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rob. It is morning somewhere. It's still morning in the UK, for at least another 30 odd minutes. But for the civilized world, it's afternoon.
We do apologize for the lack of sound on the first frame there. We had a bit of a technical difficulty, but that seems to have been resolved now. So we can chatter to you good people out there. Two interesting semi-finals we've got here. We've got Rune Kampa and Juri Virtanen in our first game, and there's a lot of experience here, David. 20 to 30 years each on the table.
Absolutely.
And then the other semi-final is two young Swedes, Benjamin McCabe and Simon Lindblom. So very much youth and experience on these two tables.
Definitely. It's definitely, we will see a final of old school versus new school, and I'm really excited to see how that will work out. Which of these two great contestants on both tables will make it through. One thing that surprises me is the first frame that we're seeing on the screen is actually finished before the two young lads, who play much quicker and more aggressively, have even got 5 reds off the table.
Yes, indeed. We were expecting it to go the other way, really, that the more experienced players would take a bit more time. But it seems that Juri pretty much dominated the first frame, all things considered. And this match is proceeding at a nice pace.
It certainly is. It certainly is. The reds have been opened once again, really quite aggressively, rather non-old school, if I could say that. Perhaps both players, perhaps less so Juri, but both players probably feeling some degree of nervousness. A bit of adrenaline kicking in, shots not being played quite as well as they would normally be done.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big tournament these days. This is the second edition of the revitalized Nordic Championships, and last year it was won by the man coming to the table here now, Rune Kampa. So he's defending his title here. He really made it to the semi-finals. So his title defense is progressing nicely so far.
Yes, he's a seasoned veteran, as Rune. You have to remind me now, Ron, what his record is for Danish and European.
Well, we could say he's done all right within Denmark. Really, he's a 12-fold Danish national champion, including this year's edition.
That's doing all right, is it?
That is quite a decent record, we could say. So he's pretty much dominated snooker in Denmark for the last 15 or so years, you could say.
Yeah.
Vastly experienced. And Juri, of course, is also a 4-time Finnish snooker champion. Not to be outdone.
No.
And it has to be mentioned that Juri is the 2006 European Masters champion.
Well, now.
So that's a very impressive title to win, because there's big names in that tournament.
I imagine so. Who else might one see in such a competition?
Well, the obvious one, and the one that's dominated those tournaments, is Darren Morgan, from Wales, former professional, who I think could still manage on the Pro Tour, really, if he felt like it. He's got a very strong game, and there's a lot of old veterans on that tour. I don't mind grinding out the results. But the match flowing rather nicely here.
Yeah, so that was a really nice safety shot there. It's not easy to see any red in a way that allows a nice clean path back into block. I'm very interested to see how Juri finds a solution for this. A thin cut on this red coming on the back of the pack. He played the drop part. That was a bit of risk.
He chose the attacking option, and did he get away with it or not?
Having a look out the window. It looks as though the red is blocking, doesn't it? You can't quite see the red to Potter.
Yeah,
gamble paid off, but Rune is looking at the red into the middle, which leaving a natural angle onto one of the baulk colours, I expect. Playing in and out of baulk, but he's not happy with the weight at all. He's really quite disappointed in how that worked out. I expect he'll lay in behind the brown next.
If you look at Rune's run in this tournament, Like you mentioned, you shared a group with him.
I did.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
He gave me an object lesson on how to pick balls out of pockets.
3-3-0 wins in the group and a 3-1 loss to Antti Tolvanen from Finland for Rune in the group. In the last 16 he beat Erik Dullered from Norway.
Yes.
And in quarter-final yesterday he beat Juha Leto from Finland 4 frames to 2. And that was an interesting match because Leto's last 16 match lasted for over 6 hours.
I know, it was an absolute marathon. The guys were exhausted at the end of it. And Rune's scheduled match to play Lehto was delayed by something in the order of 3 or 4 hours.
Something like that, yeah. I was here last night when it finished, and that was around 10 o'clock. So it was a bit of a marathon.
That's a bit of a miss. Yuri will not be happy with that. And these players are such a high caliber, of course, the miss rule is rigorously implemented. And such a high caliber that it would need to be an almost impossible geometric task to come out of for not to be problems.
Yeah, we're applying a miss rule to nearly main tour standards, I'd say, because these players, both of these players have kind of flirted with the main tour a bit. Indeed, Yuri appeared in a professional tournament, which has gotten a bit of a legendary status. It's the Winman World Masters in 1991. He appeared in that. So I managed to get through the singles and get some prize money out of it. So back as far as 1991, this man was already forced to be reckoned with.
Well, there you go, 91. I wonder how many of you out there have been playing snooker since 1991 or no, I have. I haven't improved much of it.
Speaking of you guys out there, if you want to get in touch with us here, you can get me on Twitter. I'm @QTracker_wrong on Twitter. So questions and comments are all welcome, and feel free to tweet to us here in the proverbial studio.
I'm just looking into the back of the playing room at the moment, Ron, and I can see that first frame is just about drawing to a close. It's down to the blue. I can't quite make out the scoreboard. Perhaps you can. Can you see that? Is it 42-51, perhaps?
Something around there. It's a close-fought battle between the two young Swedes,
Certainly is.
Lindholm and McCabe. We're still battling out the first frame, and we've gone a bit of a way in the second here already.
Yes.
And that's a bit of a surprise because these young players are usually the more attacking and more fluent scoring ones.
Well, I refereed Benjamin McCabe and Antti Tolvanen yesterday in their respective quarter-final match. Antti, as we mentioned earlier, was in the same group as Rune. In fact, the only player to have beaten Rune in the group stage. It was a terrific match through referee with a lot of very aggressive play, very confident potting, but at the same time some excellent safety and good tactical exchanges. A pleasure to referee.
Yeah, I commentated on the second half of that game, and the interesting thing I thought was that neither player really got a chance for some very fluent scoring. There wasn't really any big breaks. Lovely pot from Rune there. So there wasn't really any big breaks, but they both kept going at it, and they played so attacking. They went for every single shot that could possibly be potted.
Yeah.
And the safety was strong as well. So, even though the scoreline wasn't that close, the match was.
The match was extremely close. And I don't know much about Benjamin's game, and I learned a lot from watching both of them play yesterday, in fact. I think it's possibly one of Benjamin's favourite shots is a long pot from the blue off its spot into the corner pocket, either direction, up or down the table. He bangs them in with such power and such beautiful cue control. A lot of us, if we increase the power, the energy, then the arm gets a bit wobbly and the shots will often miss. Benjamin does not make that error.
Back to the game we're watching, Rune. There's a sort of a half chance here. Does this red pass comfortably past the pink? I'd say it does. He looks to be lining it up. There we are. Had to sacrifice position for the pot though.
Yes.
is maybe a risk he shouldn't have taken, because now he only has a tricky safety shot left, really.
Well, he may wish to take. He may want to take the yellow, but it won't be an easy shot. Depending on his frame of mind or how comfortable he feels about finding position again for his next red.
And in the first frame, he didn't really have much of a scoring chance. He didn't really get going very much yet. So he's probably quite keen to keep this break going. Can we help you?
Just trying to find a score in the back table.
That was McCabe.
Huh?
Wasn't it McCabe? Took it.
Still on the right.
The name on the right hand side of the screen.
McCabe.
So on the other table here, the other semi-final, the first frame has finished, and Benjamin McCabe leads his countryman 1 frame to nil there.
Yeah, so we're seeing it's a bit of a safety exchange here. Your prediction was correct after the Rune potting the red into the corner. He took the blue, took it off the side cushion, brought it into play down at the black, and played safe. There's been a few safety exchanges since then.
And there's a red here over the bottom right corner that I think will disappear. And then it's Rune in again.
Well, that wasn't quite accurate enough. These tables, Waraka M1s, beautiful tables, one, and the playing conditions are some of the best I've experienced. So new tables, new cloth.
Yeah, we've got 30 ounce 6811 cloth on this, so that's about as good as they get.
That's right. I'm playing with G1 balls.
G1 balls, brand new G1 balls. Actually.
Brand new, very
So it's
shiny,
all very
no
slippery.
pitting, very slippery. Lots of nice action. Beautiful playing conditions.
That's actually something that this club really prides itself in. I've played here on and off for a couple of years, and the standard here is always excellent. There's always good cloths, there's always new balls, the cloths are replaced when you need it. And the owner, Lasse, who deserves a lot of credit for getting this club up and going, it means a lot for snooker in Denmark.
Guys, he's a good guy, Lasse. I met him for the first time last year in the Nordic Cup up in Oslo. And a lot of time for the guy.
And the standard of this club is proven by the fact that the player of Rune's standard has chosen it as his home base. He practices here, spends a lot of hours here, and I've also been in the quote-unquote fortunate situation of picking out balls for him. He made a century against me in a practice game once, 127 clearance, which was a thing to behold.
It is.
Once he gets going, he's a very flowing player. And what I like about Rune is he has that thing which Ronnie has as well. He needs very little power to get a lot of movement out of the ball. He has a very sweet stroke.
He does indeed, and he doesn't hit the cue balls at any of the extremities. Very high top or very deep screw. He doesn't really do that either.
He does actually get very low into the ball a lot.
Does he?
He doesn't mind digging down,
Right.
but he very seldom plays a real power shot because he can throw it off 3-4 cushions with just his touch. He doesn't need the power as much. Look at this, for example. He just finished low on the blue here, and he really needed to be high because now position has become very tricky indeed.
Well, hang on 1 second, Rob. The pink is actually open.
Oh, it is here. It didn't look like it passed those bottom reds, but we are right behind the pockets here actually, and it does definitely pass.
Yes. It's one of the challenges with cameras and foreshortening. One is sitting at an angle. The referee now just checking the pink spot to see if the pink can be correctly respotted on its colour. On its spot, it can. Delicate job here with the little gloves on. Sometimes your fingers get a little twitchy to avoid bumping the other balls.
Yeah, there's still some work left here. These reds are all kind of a little bit in each other's way, so they'll need clearing up. That's a good start. A lovely nudge to open those two reds up.
Yes.
Decent enough position on the blue. You can roll behind these two reds that are on the top right, at the top right of the pink. Roll them into the left middle. That opens the other red of that pack of two up.
Very true.
And then we're heading towards frame winning territory here.
Yes. Another challenge that makes this particular frame quite interesting is the pink seems to be out of the game at the moment until reds can be developed further, and the black is also quite out of the game. So we're really concentrating and dropping into the blue for each red, and that just adds another level of complexity where errors can happen.
We'll finish the touch low on this. I'd say he'll still be alright. Plus he also has the advantage, if he does finish too low on this red, he can always roll up towards the bulk colors as he did.
Yes.
Yellow here. If he can reach it comfortably. He might choose the rest otherwise. Looks like he can just about get over. He has to watch his position of his body because he gets close to those two reds on the right hand side. And here's a touch. This is really an uncomfortable shot. You can't really reach it very, very cleanly.
No.
So you might just favour green with the rest.
Rooney's quite a tall lad, but even for the taller players like myself, there are limits. At certain points, that the angle is such that it becomes uncomfortable or just simply impractical. Nice green there, dropping down for a little far. But I think he may have an angle on the red right next to the pink. Plop that one in the middle bag. And with a little bit of luck, have a nice position in the pink.
Actually, we don't speak too much. Because then it becomes a bit annoying to listen to.
Right.
I always talk too much as well. But, I've learned to try and pace myself a little bit because eventually people writing in going, shut up.
Fine, good to know. I'll have some more breakfast.
Stay forward, go David. It's Hammond.
Who said that?
Hammond.
Who?
Hammond, or Dollar.
Hammond. All right.
There seems to be problems getting solved here, David. 47 points to lead for Rubin. 67 left on. So these three open reds in the middle of the table are sufficient for him to take Yuri to snookers required. And then it will be 1-1, and the semi-final is playing out very nicely indeed. Both these guys playing very well. Just a touch high on the pink. But this will be fine.
He's got a number of options available to him here. Red in the corner, red in the middle.
I would probably stun this down for the top red into the left middle. He looks to be drawing out instead for the red in the same pocket as he took the pink in.
It's all a question of which queuing style you're most comfortable with, isn't it?
Who are these commentators in the Nordic realm, do you know? Yes, it's fucking me.
Who is that then? Your wife? Let's see.
So no snookers required for Yuri. I think Rune can take on this red to the right corner as a shot to nothing. He's got nothing to lose really. And I don't expect Yuri to play on here. They both seem to be in a nice pace of play and they'll want to get on with it here.
51 on the table. 60. 9.
3 snookers.
3 snookers. One approach might be, and of course, much of this will depend on luck as well, is to pot 2 of reds and hope of getting a free ball from the last one.
Yeah, that's the most common approach whenever it's more than 1 snooker required and there's still reds on the table. You take as many reds and blacks as you can and try and get a free ball out of it. It's the easiest solution to a problem like this. This player of this standard, whether it's Bruno or Yuri, they're highly unlikely to give away 3 snookers.
Completely agree. That was a clever shot there from Yuri, bringing the black more into play.
Top of the table shows that Bruno agrees with you. And he is actually slightly in trouble here. He's going to opening up, or closing up the red, I should say. And he needs this red to make sure, because Yuri's shown every intent of battling on for the snookers.
Yeah, and that's
So
something
be
that
careful here.
I'm sure that contact in the pink is something that Bruno would have preferred to have avoided. Shortens the distance to target ball, makes Yuri's life a little easier.
Can't believe that. This tweet.
Who is it that sends it?
He does like a sort of news aggregator site. He writes a bunch of articles on it. He's done an interview with me before as well.
Okay.
He's alright.
UK based or Netherlands?
I think he's UK based. And here's a chance for Rune to get the frame safe. A difficult long red, but of course he's in the advantageous position of being able to take the risk. And he needs the red, really. Oh, what a cracker that is. Fabulous shot. And surely that seals the frame for Rune Kampa, and that will put us at 1-all in this Nordic Championship semi-final. Best of 7 is being played. So there's a long way to go yet in this one, and what a cracker this is turning into, David.
It is. That was a very confident red, and as you say, a frame winning ball. I don't expect Yuri to come back to the table if he's given an opportunity to.
Potting practice for Rune. Of course, he'll want the clearance. The pink on the right hand cushion will be the problem for that. But it's a nice confidence booster this frame. He lost the first frame fairly convincingly, and he's won the second convincingly. And this match nicely poised at 1-all now.
That's right, Rune's certainly got his rhythm back. His momentum is up, and the longer he can keep his opponent away from the table, the stronger it makes him. Of course, both players understand that very well.
And if these two are firing on all cylinders, then we're definitely in for a great game. It's 1-all. We're tied here in the semi-finals of the Nordic Championship. Rune Kampa takes the second frame against Yuri Vieta. Cracker, this. Brilliant game.
I like the way you faded out there. It's very much.
Yeah, it's coming back to me.
Yeah.
See if I can turn the charm on.
Do you think we'll have a chance to do a John Briggle?
Where's the cue ball going?
Hello, John. When did you come in?
First chance we'll wrap that in. Could be fun. There's not that many chances for something like that, actually.
There's not that many.
There's not that many chances for something like that. It's actually relatively rare.
Not these guys. Of course, now in the parodies of John Virgo, it's every third shot.
This one parody clip is like John and Willie Thorne and Dennis Taylor. They all show up in the end, and it becomes like an argument. It's just I found it recently. Fucking hilarious.
Chris actually sent me a link. Two British comedians, Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Drunk, smoking and drinking snooker commentators. Oh, that's a bad miss.
There's a bit with Brian Blessed as well.
Oh.
And he's on the red into the World Semi-Finals. David Henry. Oh, what a miss! I could have fought at that end. 1-1 here in Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House in the semi-finals of the Nordic Snooker Championship. Jiri Virtanen of Finland breaks off in the third frame, and there's an absolute foray of national titles on this table. 12-fold Danish champion Rune Kampe plays 4-fold Finnish champion Jiri Virtanen. Absolute decades of experience here, David.
Indeed. Such a lot of experience. These guys began playing, oh goodness, when? 20, 30 years ago? Perhaps longer. Perhaps longer.
I'd say longer. Rune is about 44. I think he started playing around 18. And Jiri is 54. So he's been around for at least 30 years.
Yes.
They've had blistering careers, both of these players. As we mentioned, the national titles. Rune has gotten to a few quarterfinals in European Masters tournaments. And Jiri actually was the European Masters champion in 2006. Impressive record.
We missed our John Virgo. Rune took a strong pot there into the corner. Obviously missed the pot, went in off. It will unsettle him slightly, but it surely won't let him discourage him in any way. It does allow Jiri in. Free reign of where he should want to have the points after attempting the red into the corner. I won't be too happy with that, Jiri. Missed the pot, left it over the middle. Had he made it, he was still out of position on the black. A bit sloppy.
They don't play many sloppy shots, these two, but this is a chance for Rune, and these reds are relatively open, so you can definitely build a nice break here. Off the top cushion onto the blue.
He didn't make that.
Expected him to pot that, really. Shaky start from both gentlemen in third frame.
I'll see a few safety exchanges out.
It's always lovely to see these sorts of players up close, because I mean these two aren't professionals and they never have been, but they have flirted with the Pro Tour a bit, and their standard is very, very high indeed. And as I mentioned before, I had Rune make a century against me.
Yes.
And, you're just in awe. I mean, it looks like there's not much between him and your average top 16 player.
Right.
Both of these can really play. And that shows a lot actually about the standard of snooker in the Nordic countries. Now, none of these countries have any sort of strong snooker or even billiards tradition. The game has been around in different forms in all countries for a while. But for example, Sweden, snooker didn't come to Sweden until the mid-80s.
Right.
When Kim Appman, the current Eurosport commentator, brought the first tables over to Sweden, 81 I think it was. So that's 35 years or so, and they're already producing strong youth players. So the game is making very fast progress.
It is. It's excellent to see that. In fact, that was also one of the drivers for a number of friends of mine when we formed our club in Oslo Snooker. There were not too many clubs in Norway indeed to play snooker in, and there wasn't so much of a formalised competition milieu, if you can put it like that. But now we're seeing new clubs in all corners of the country. Just outside of Bergen is a very new club in the town of Ås. A club in Sarpsborg. We now have 2 clubs in Oslo that engage in a competitive environment. And of course Trondheim, which is the club of Norway that's got the largest membership contingent, and brought a number of players to this tournament as well.
Yeah, that's very much the reason for this club's existence as well, to try and increase the amount of clubs in Denmark and to improve conditions as well. Because this club has always had top quality conditions, they've always had the best cloths, and the cloths and the tables are well maintained, the balls are always polished, high standards. And that's also partly what you need to develop the game. You need good players, you need good inspiration and coaches, but you also need the material. Nobody can learn how to play this game with dirty balls and worn cloths.
No, that's absolutely true. I've played in a few snooker halls in the UK that resemble what you've just described there on the negative side of the game. You can't get better than that. It's just not possible.
I think I'm pulling the plug on this coffee machine.
So we're pulling the plug on itself.
R2D2.
The coffee machine has got prostate issues. Too far away from me, mate, honestly. I would need binoculars for that.
That's actually what I was thinking. I have no idea. We'll have to wait until the frames are
There's a nice long red there from Yuri, leaving himself comfortably in the bulb colours.
And actually, we were talking about age again, and this is something that is mentioned in the context of the Pro Tour a lot as well. As they always say, snooker is a young man's game, but there is quite a few successful players on the main tour that are, in their late 30s or 40s.
That's right.
And this man is 54, Rune is 44, which is a relatively high-ish age for a snooker player, and yet they're both at the top of their game.
Quite right.
It's an impressive thing to see, really.
It is. And, when I think about some of the pros, clearly he's not the oldest on the circuit, but he's also not the youngest, and John Higgins. I'm not quite sure how old John is, but I do know that Ron is never far away from any computer snooker statistics or data that he's going to find out for me. Of course, if any of you out there know, please tweet us. Unless your name happens to be John Higgins, in which case you might find out embarrassing.
You're putting me on the spot here, David. I can tell you John Higgins is 40 years of age. 41 soon.
He's just a youngster.
Okay, really.
Of course, Jimmy White is a few years older. Tony Drago is actually my age.
Tony Drago is 51, I believe.
That's right.
Off the top of my head.
Yep.
But then again, Drago is dropping off the tour, and Jimmy White only on by virtue of a wild card.
There we go.
So they're heading towards the end of their careers.
Steve Davis, is he still on the tour?
Nope, he's packed it in.
He's packed it in now. Focusing on music. His other passion in life.
Chance for Rune to put a few points on the board. And he's responded well to the loss in the first frame. He was convincing in the second frame. Although the start of this frame is a bit dodgy from both players, missed pots on both sides. And I don't think this is nerves, because these two are so experienced and they've been in bigger matches than this. So I don't put it down to nerves. It's just the start of the day, the start of the, it's been a long competition as well. 3 full days competition already. Rune had a late finish last night. Those things get to you every now and again after a while.
They do.
With a lovely long pot from Yuri. Not the greatest of positions. Take a chance on the blue, take a chance on the green, safety chances, but it doesn't look like a frame winner.
He looks to be lining up, looking at the pink. Is he looking at the pink, or is he thinking more about which red would follow?
He's thinking about which red, because that pink definitely doesn't go in.
Doesn't go.
At the other table, the battle between the two young Swedes, Benjamin McKay and Simon Lisbon. 1-0 to McKay still. It's better that we mute and not wait if that turns on, because it sounds terrible on the stream.
I found a quiet coffee machine myself.
Have you pulled the plug on that?
Instant. It's called instant coffee, man.
I give you an instant fist. Where? You wish. You're a bit picky this morning, aren't you, Fred? Do you want anything?
Whilst you're making a noise.
Not the most complicated thing this machine can spit out.
That was a beautiful red there. Screwed across the table, back onto the pink, into the middle pocket. Really Vietnam. 54 years old, you said?
Yes, indeed. An old hand at this game.
Yes, indeed. He's no spring chicken, but he's still able to fight his corner.
He's a lovely player to watch. He's got a very nice pace around the table. He's got a very fluent cue action. He reads the game very well. And I talked to him before the match actually. He's done a lot of coaching. He's, among other things, also done some coaching in Sweden for these young guys that are contesting the other semi-final. And I like his outlook on the game. It's very much for working with the player and making sure that he doesn't just teach the right or wrong way of the game. It's very much when he works with the player, finds out what works for the player, and helps them to achieve their goals. He's got to give a very good approach to the game. 1-1. On the other table, two young Swedes. The second tune is just finished there, and it is now 1-1 between Simon Lindblom and Benjamin McKay. And no one can predict a winner there, just as no one can predict a winner here. Both players very evenly matched. It can really go either way, David.
Yeah, both matches could go either way. I'm seeing a few mistakes, missed pots on this table, uncharacteristic of both players, of course. As you say, it's the rigor of the last few days competing. Been long days. Table quality is very high. The pockets are really very tight. The margin of error is very slim.
Yeah, these tables, the Iraka ones, they're comparable to the star tables used on the main tour. Actually, they were the template for the star tables when they were designed. What was I saying?
Template for stars.
Nobody can order coffee anymore.
You're a bad girl.
We do apologize for the occasional interruption in the commentary. We're right next to a coffee machine, which is the loudest thing in the history of the planet. So we chosen to disable the microphones whenever that coffee machine goes on, so we do apologize. As I was saying, these Viaka M1s, they were the template for the star tables, so the cut of the pockets and the general design of them is very similar to the star tables used on the main tour. And these pockets are, I think, even a little bit tighter than the star tables. So they're very, very tricky indeed.
Yes, many of us in Oslo Snooker, we often play on the star table. We have one in the club. It's Kurt Mafflin's private table. Of course, the English lad who's the Norwegian pro plays as a professional under the Norwegian flag. Again, an uncharacteristic miss. And he's left it on. Might have been a kick. The cue ball was just cleaned prior to Yuri taking that shot, and Rune has asked for the white to be cleaned again. We're perhaps starting to see some more residue on the balls.
Yeah, it could come from if you play a lot of deep screw shots, and of course with those kinds of shots the most amount of chalk gets onto the ball and it accumulates. Even if it drops off the ball during the normal progression of play, it'll slowly roll off the ball.
That's correct.
But the actual chalk pieces do remain on the cloth and get picked up by the cue ball again.
That's right.
That's why even cleaning the ball doesn't always solve the kick problem. And the kick discussion is a very complicated one, but I actually wonder if the cleaning of the ball has a huge effect on kicks either way.
Possibly not. Possibly not. I think it's psychological as well for the player. If you see something sitting on the cue ball, it's going to act as a distraction.
Oh yeah,
Defocus your concentration.
It's definitely best practice to get the cue ball cleaned. I just wonder if that has a lot to do with kicks or not.
No.
Either ways, as we discussed, chalk does get on the ball with normal progression of play, so it's good to clean the cue ball once or twice a quarter.
This also reflects back on something you said earlier on about the importance of good table maintenance. So regular brushing and blocking, or the occasional backing, and then reclothing to remove that, take the old cloth off, but also to clean the slate bed underneath.
I've actually up to recently played in a club in Helsingborg in Sweden, close to where I live, close, about an hour away. It's close by Swedish standards. And that cloth has...
Just interrupted it. That was a catastrophic miss.
That's the worst miss of the match by far.
Quite devastating. You can see the expression on Yuri's face. He was very, very disappointed by that. The ball was over the pocket. He missed it by... Well, he missed it.
Missed that by a mile. Put that up 100 times, he'd miss it maybe once. Of course, the one time he misses, it tends to be in a big game.
Yep.
Anyway, this club in Helsingborg I played in, they're very bad for table maintenance, and actually the cloth had started going blue with the sheer amount of chalk residue accumulated on it, and I think they change the cloth once every 4 years or so.
I've never seen that.
Ridiculous. So as we said, very important. Nicely placed this frame, 27-34. Rune Kampe is behind by 7 points, but that could disappear very quickly here. Beautiful shot, that nicely along the cushion.
It was a
Out again
shot.
for the black.
Those are very difficult, I find, these two issues. You have to be absolutely spot on with your accuracy, and then the power that you're required to get on this side of the black again.
On just about any table, any shot along the rail is always, there's a high degree of difficulty. Although in American pool, they're usually easier on the cushion. That does not apply to snooker at all, because it shrinks the amount of pocket space available for the ball to go into, of course.
That's right. This game is all about precision. Do you happen to know what kind of cues the guys are playing with today? What they favour?
Not exactly. We'll see if I can find out during the interval later. Pretty sure Rune has a John Paris.
If I'm not mistaken, Yuri's using a one piece, but I'm not quite sure which manufacturer.
We'll try and figure that out during the interval after the fourth frame here. Over word with both players.
On the other table, one of the young Swedish lads, Bernhard McCabe, has an unusual two-piece cue. It's not got a thread on it. It's actually, it appears to be rubber suction kind of arrangement. Pull it apart and makes a big pop. when you fall apart.
It's a new one on me. Let's have a look at that. It's the first. He seems to like the unusual things because he's got an unusual looking waistcoat as well. The back of it is very much decorated.
You might sound stylish instead of unusual. Yeah, absolutely.
Not as fluent as the first two frames. This one is turning into a bit of a battle. Both players have made very careless mistakes. Both players have had their chances. But this one is turning into a real battle.
There's only 9 points between them. 3 reds, and light up the scrappiness. A bit more caution. Another uncharacteristic error there.
Again, a very big mistake from Yuri. There's 2 big mistakes in a very short amount of time. He's going to get away with it.
He was lucky.
Just tickled the red, but it won't lighten the pain for him at all. He knows that that's now 2 massive errors he's made this way.
They will be nagging him. Back of his mind.
Runa will not stand for it. He'll take the chance when it comes. Runa did the same thing last night in his quarter-final against Leto. It wasn't a very flowing match from either player. But when the chances came Runa's way, he was making his 20s and 30s very quick.
I remember a conversation I had with Ryan Day about 2 years ago. We were in Gdynia, Poland, and he asked me if I'd ever made a 147. I told him I hadn't. And he did ask me what my highest break was in the competition. I told him in the 60s. He said, don't worry. He said, can you make 24? I said, of course you can make 24. Do 3 of them every frame, you win every match. It seemed to make sense to me.
Yeah, it does. The points add up, don't they?
Yes. Nothing here. No idea about the other table.
It's been a match of lowish breaks. Nothing spectacular. 20s, 30s, 40s, but scoring chances here. Red in a color is all that Runa companies. This red was tricky though along the round. He seemed to really throw his cue at that.
He did.
That was not straight cueing at all. That was very sloppy cueing.
It's not like Runa.
The arm shot out an absolute mile. He never touched the blue as well. Not quite firing on all cylinders yet.
Yuri will be happy to get back to the table.
He can count himself very lucky to still be in this frame. He's made 2 massive errors so far. He's very lucky to still be in this frame.
Yes.
And the chances here for him to clear up and take the frame.
Colors are on the spots are very close to the spots. So
Yellow
pretty much a
just
practice routine, isn't it, really?
I bet she's expecting to win this, really.
I would say so.
Sidste år er der sådan en
There's Twitter at the point.
Prize money.
There you go. There's Runa. There's TV.
And again, a miss from Yuri. He is just not happy this frame. He's sitting in his chair, shaking his head.
You'll be having a little
Negative
chat.
body language.
It is. Very negative. You'll be having a chat with himself. See if he can get himself sorted out.
We had a question before about the prize money. Prize money for the winner is €1,200. The runner-up receives 600, and both semi-finalists receive 300 each. And then there's a high break prize of €100 on top of that, which currently looks like going to Rune Campbell for his 113th only century of the tournament so far. So both of these players are really guaranteed €300 for their efforts.
That's right.
And of course, the 1,200 is there for the crowd. It won't be about the money, but it does definitely help. What they want is the title, the cup, and they want their name on the list.
It's a beautiful trophy.
Wouldn't Rune love to win this twice in a row? But he's got this tricky brown here. This is not an easy shot at all. He can focus entirely on the pot.
He missed it by a good chunk.
He's going to get away with this.
No, it appears to be open.
Stops in time.
So
He's
21
gonna run
behind.
the pink there.
Yeah, could have done. 21 behind, 22 in favour. So. No, certainly Yuri is not in his game today.
He looked strong in the first frame,
He did really.
but the second frame was dominated by Rune, but this frame has gone scrappy, but Yuri really seems to have lost more of his focus.
I think it was when he missed the long red that came up and back down the table onto the red. I think that was perhaps a trigger for him.
Good safety this.
Yuri should be looking now, I think, for a couple of routine safety shots, get his head back in a good place.
Yeah, no silly things, no double kisses. You won't be happy with this shot.
Looks as though the brown may pass the pink into the corner.
I think it does.
If it
It
does,
might be worth taking that on here. As a sort of a shot to nothing. You can leave the white high up on the table. And of course, he only needs this to secure the frame.
it does pass. I'm just looking at it from a different angle. And Rune opted for the safe.
He's not taking any risks. He knows it only takes one or two good pots to get Yuri back in a positive frame of mind. And suddenly you'd fancy him for the clearance. So these two players are so close to each other, game-wise.
Very much a
There's
battle.
really not much between them.
It's a battle of nerves, isn't it?
That again, not a good miss.
Yeah.
There are no good misses, of course. Should have been able to hit that. Brown makes sure. That means the frame will go to Rune. Lost the first frame, then took the second and third in a row. And the 12 times Danish champion is starting to get his touch. Yuri seems to like playing all for snookers. He doesn't like playing all the 3 snookers required.
Just like he did on his first round on the Royal match, where he was trailing by 60 in the second frame, and he kept on
There's a
playing.
good chance here to snooker behind.
So it works for Yuri.
Can I just make 17 cups of coffee and 2 lattes?
17.
Tell you what, why not make it
90. I don't know if you caught what Hans Peter said
Yeah, I've heard it.
I think the
in one of his earlier matches. It was something like 60 points behind Yuri. And he doggedly persisted, and he won that match. We just heard from a colleague here that it's in the style of Yuri and never to give up. That in fact, earlier in this tournament, was heavily behind on a particular
Lovely hits from that.
was heavily behind on a particular match. Just persisted in building snookers after snookers after snookers. And he came back to win that match 3-2. So a never say die attitude can bring its own rewards.
It's a good attitude to have if it pays off. And it does sometimes. Sometimes players do play on for what we would call unconventional amounts of snookers, and it can actually pay off, because I know a story about Luca Bressel, a Belgian professional, playing on when he needed 8 snookers and he got 7. So he got pretty close to that.
That was indeed very close. It takes a lot of determination. And the other side of that is the negative effect it has on the other player.
Yeah, it's like snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
You're talking about the Scotland football team again.
There's not much to mention about that, is there?
They're world champions.
I'm not a football guy myself. There's not enough balls, there's no table.
Me neither.
I like Rune's attitude to situations like this, and he always does this when his opponent is hunting snookers. Rather than a lot of players will try to lay snookers back and will play very defensively because they're trying to protect their lead. But Rune actually always tries to end the frame as quickly as possible, and he'll take on a half chance. He'll take on the long pots because he figures that he can't leave much of an easy snookering chance. And if the pot goes in, then that's the frame. I actually like that. I think a lot of players play negatively when their opponent requires snookers.
Oh, this is the kind of shot I would try to do myself, to lay the ball up at the pocket.
Yeah, and that came sort of close to the pocket, so if it goes in, happy days, and if not, you leave it close enough to the pocket where you cause trouble for the opponent. Hasn't in this particular situation.
Yeah, there we go, double kiss. Most likely, yes.
Yes, and that is the end of the frame. So the 12 times Danish champion adds the third frame. That's Rune Kampenau, 2 frames to 1 in the lead over Jørgen.
PP time.
Oh!
I guess we need to let the players do that.
So you're going to chop your cue. Is that what they call it?
Hello, Team Norway. Score over there. 1-1 currently.
Hey, you can't play strong there. Drifting a little bit, yeah? Yeah, drifting a lot and those kicks. 3 kicks. All the important places. But if normally it doesn't drift, it's bigger part or whatever. Normally it's good, beautiful table.
Godt. Vi tager 2 af den ene, først går nummer 2 bord, så det er jeres. Det er så det du har. Det gør det ikke, så lyder det bare lidt dumt, når man kommer købet til kong.
Frame 4 here in the semi-finals of the Nordic Snooker Championship 2016. Rune Kampe breaking off, having won the last 2 frames to get his lead up to 2-1 against Jiri Virtanen. The other semi-final between the 2 young Swedes, Benjamin McCabe and Simon, still points at 1-all. Simon Lindblom, that is. Still points at 1-all. It looks to be fairly close in the 3rd frame, but the problem is that table is all the way in the back. We're having trouble having a look at the scoreboard from here. Can't send the runner in without disturbing the match. So you'll have to bear with us, I'm afraid. We'll do our best to keep you updated.
Whatever the score happens to be, we can't sail it down to blue, so that must be relatively close to some degree. So, and Benjamin's at the table, he's looking in the pink.
Speaking of close, Rune got very close to that pot. When he walked past here earlier, and I heard him complain about a couple of balls rolling off, and he thought it was maybe finger marks on the cloth causing that. So he's not entirely happy with the rolls of the table here.
Okay. There's quite a bit of math on the cloth. I noticed that on the first day.
Yeah, these cloths, they're not quite, the same cloths they would use on the main tour. We used to have Hainsworth Precision in this cloth. We've now got 30 ounce 6811, and that's, as you say, it's got a bit more nap on it. It's a little bit thicker. They're also a little bit slower, but I think you'll hardly notice that on these cloths. They're very fast.
Can't really say I noticed anything on the speed, but on the nap, yes. In Norway we use Hainsworth Precisions across all the clubs. We agreed to standardise on that. Give some uniformity.
Yeah, the Precision is a very good cloth, but from a club perspective, the downside is that you have to replace them every 6 months. So it becomes so expensive.
You are right. But being private clubs, as opposed to commercial clubs such as the one here, that's a luxury we feel we can afford.
Jurien with a scoring chance here, looking to get his confidence back because there was a lot of mistakes from him in that 3rd frame, and he had chances to win it outright and to nick it off as well later on in the frame. And his focus seemed to go a bit, he seemed to get a little bit down on himself. And he's got a nice open scoring chance here, so he really wants a decent sized break. And just as I say that, out of position, glues himself to the pink.
Oh dear.
We're in trouble. That'll be on the break, David.
Not a happy finish, Boyka. Boy. Yeah. So, what's he left on here? The one in the middle? Yes, one in the middle, cross table down onto the left. I'm thinking out loud.
Benjamin was on the right, on the other table.
Yes.
And he's 2-1 up, I think. He's probably got 7 minutes.
Yeah, looks like that. Another interesting bit is that if Yuri and Benjamin should both go through, they were in the same group.
That's good.
There's the other 2 guys came from
Opposite ends of the door. Nice attempt to split the pack from Rune Kampe there. Didn't get that much jazz on the cue ball, but he has, I think, got a shot to the left middle. I'm wondering if that red to the top right of the cue ball just squeezes past. It looks tight. It might just go.
He's actually looking at this in the corner pocket.
Yeah, he's playing up into the corner, or he's playing safe off it. Ooh, he went for the pot, and he's not happy with that at all.
He missed that by almost a metre. He will not be a happy boy. You can see that in his body language that he turned away from the shot.
Yeah, he knew immediately as well. I don't think he feels entirely comfortable yet, because, like I mentioned before, it's like complaints about the cloth there. I don't think he's quite on fire yet. But he had a late night last night, and that doesn't help. His match finished around 10 o'clock. And Benjamin McCabe just took the third frame, and he's 2-1 up on Simon Lindblom now in the other semi-final, the Battle of the Swedes. Battle of the Young Guns as well. It looked to be a fairly tight frame. That one could definitely go all the way, as could this.
It could indeed. And young Simon and
You're welcome.
Benjamin are both good friends, although they play in different clubs. Benjamin over in Göteborg and Simon in Stockholm. Benjamin was telling me this morning that he plays on an unusually sized table. It's about 11 foot long.
About 11 foot.
I don't know where it comes from. I don't know who made it. I've never heard of like. I've heard of 10 foot, I've heard of 12 foot and 9 foot.
Exactly, there's 6 and 8 and 9 and I think I've seen them 11 every now and again, but about 11?
Maybe it was 11, but I think he was being a little ironic too.
That's actually a problem in Sweden, and it's a problem that to a certain extent applies to all the Nordic countries. Because there's no snooker tradition here, there's hardly any tables, and it's a problem I come up with as well. I've just bought an old table, but I don't have anywhere to put it up yet. But there's very few clubs that will
bring
have
it to our
tables.
club. We would find space for it for you.
I'm sure you would, but that wouldn't cut down on my travel time exactly. No, I'm in southern Sweden, and the problem there is that there's maybe 6 or 7 tables spread over different clubs. A lot of them really in very good shape. So most of snooker in Sweden is really centralized in Stockholm at a club called Snooker House. The good thing there is that there's a lot of good coaching there, and the club itself keeps the tables to a very good standard. All the competitions are held there, so it really is a hub for Swedish snooker. It's an extremely good environment to be in, actually.
Yes, I think this is the club where a lot of these young guys come from, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of practice going on there. They have grouped coaching sessions there for all these young guys, and the young guys get a lot of support. They have coaches traveling with them to all the international events. So they've really set it up properly, and they've set it up as a proper sport. But that is something that was relatively new for snooker in the Nordic countries.
Absolutely. In the Oslo area, we've started doing, and I know it's being replicated in Trondheim as well, is offering a Saturday club for parents to bring their kids along, get them introduced to the sport, no charge, just to create interest.
Kim, har du någon aning hur många snookerbord finns i Sverige? Kring 50 eller?
Det brukar vara runt 50-60.
50-60?
Ja, 58-60.
Det är inklusive liksom privat?
Nej, det finns många vi inte har koll på. Säkert en 10-15. Kanske 20 som vi inte vet om.
Tack.
We've just established your machine has prostate issues.
It has. Give it 2 seconds.
No rubber glove, I like that.
No, it's Saturday.
Don't give me the first coffee after.
Sick.
Slide down smoothly.
Brown coffee, yeah.
Looks like teaching.
Well,
This is a nice little lead from Urier. He seems to be getting his touch back a little bit. Third frame was scrappy, but this frame very much dominated by the Finn.
The interesting thing with the position of the tables here, we've got 5 reds up at bulk, but the effective value of that is half of those down pink and black. If we play with bulk up.
We were discussing these tables in the Nordic countries before. Swedish first sport commentator Kim Hartman, who travels with the Swedish team, just informed me that there's working around 50 to 60 tables in Sweden, plus then the odd private table, which is really untraceable. If you consider the size of the country, that is very few tables indeed. And that kind of reaffirms that snooker is a fairly small sport in the Nordic countries, but as we said, it's on the up. It's heading the right way.
It is, you're right. But if you think 50 or 60, I'm sure a mid-sized English city would have more, just in one city.
Definitely. And this club here, it used to have full 12 tables, it's now going down to 6 due to space issues. But that does a lot for the sport already. There's twice as many players in Danish ranking events as there was even only a year ago. So big steps being taken for snooker in the Nordics.
For your information, first commercial table was put up in our club 82. First time we played in amateur world championship 84 outside Dublin. We had 3 tables in the club, and that were all the tables in Sweden. And in the same time, they had 3,000 tables in Dublin. Yeah, they asked us about it. They couldn't believe it. Only one club in Sweden. It must be very big. Yeah, very big.
But you brought in the first table, right?
Yeah.
And you also ref the only max in Sweden.
Exactly.
And that was
86, I think.
who was it that made it?
Alain Robideau against Jim White.
I knew it was a Canadian.
It can have been 87 if I refereed Sweden 86 instead. Alain Robideau became professional player in the autumn.
Before or after?
After. But it was his first recognized maximum break, because it was a proper match.
Yeah.
So it was considered recognized as an official 147. Then he made one more in Holland. It was some kind of program tournament there, just a month later.
It was another uncharacteristic miss there from Yuri, but he's sufficiently far ahead to have taken the 4th frame.
Yes, and that is that. We're now going to a bit of an interval here. It'll probably be around 15 minutes. 2-2. So we're nicely tight in this game between Rune and Yuri. There was a break yesterday.
There was, but when I did my first refereeing over there with Ante Dolvan and Danny Eriksson, I asked them, I said, do you have a breakdown in the 4th frame? And they said, no, we put it into play. I did the same last time in the quarterfinals, and they took 15 minutes.
You should have rules for this.
This guideline.
Either you take a break or you take no break.
It's currently a guideline.
Slight correction there. It seems we're not going to an interval after all. There's a bit of unclarity about that because there was an interval in some matches yesterday. It seems both players have elected to play on.
So we don't need to do that.
No, I'm just saying there'll be no interval. We'll go straight for frame 5 here.
That's okay.
Don't worry, it's just me looking like an idiot.
Was it a 60 break from Yuri, or was it?
No, it's fragmented.
Still up.
A couple of 30s, I think.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to keep track of it from here because we can't hear the ref either.
Between
So.
frames. See, we time this strategically.
Remember him? We have all the most.
Woody. That's what I call him. Right behind his back.
heard stories about it. I've never done it.
That's a break shot. Supposed to be cool break.
An aggressive opener here. Reds have spread up quite a lot here. Still 2-2 between Bernhard Bangs Alle and Juri Virtanen. The two veterans are nicely poised here. Third frame was scrappy, but all the other three frames have been won convincingly, really. And this match could go all the way, David, I'd say.
I think we will see that, you know. I think it's going to go a bit of back and forth, take a frame here, take a frame there. I don't think we're going to see any high breaks in this match. The way it's developed so far, very scrappy, 20s and 30s, not even a half century.
Yeah, this other semi-final can also go either way. It's the two young Swedes, Simon Lindblom and Benjamin McCabe against each other. McCabe 2-1 up.
Yeah.
And again, those two are so close to each other level-wise that it could really go either way. It could go very close.
You see that Simon missed black into the middle there. He's not happy about that. It's a tight little snooker behind the green, isn't it? Look at that. This is going to challenge the player and maybe even the referee.
Well, you know the referee quite well, I understand, so I'm sure he'll be up to it.
It's well within his abilities.
Christopher Watts, the referee, who represented Norway along with yourself in this tournament. Vastly experienced as well as Chris. I'm sure he'll be fine. That is a wonderful escape.
Excellent.
That's really a lovely shot. He has maybe left a tinker of a wrench towards the left middle, and maybe just enough towards the right corner. But that is the risk with escapes like this when the pack is already fairly open. It's very difficult to play an escape off 3 cushions, 2 cushions, and not leave something.
But it's a tricky queuing.
But Yuri is not really able to get comfortable on that shot, which caused him to miss
He's off
red.
his game. He really is off his game.
He is a bit off his game, but he really could not get at that cue ball at all. So
No, it was
that would be the excuse on that shot. But again, if you're confident, if you're playing well, if the breaks are flying in, then it doesn't matter whether you have position or not. So.
Are you happy with your copy? What's this? White side blue. Yes.
You just help yourself. Oh, the bottle of champagne there, mate.
Should really have these, but I need the energy. I left here last night, 11, and because the train connection just went dodgy on me, and I need the metro to the airport, then a train into Sweden, and then I have to switch to a slow train within Sweden. And then I have to walk home, which is 40 minutes, because my bike got nicked last week. So I was home 1:45. And again, a scrappy start to this frame.
Yeah. There's no red that's obviously on. Clearly there's the one down in the black pocket, but it doesn't really leave much after.
We've actually...
Well, that was a heck of a pot, wasn't it?
Wow, unbelievable.
I think you'll follow it up.
New snooker coming up. New snooker coming up.
There's a snooker.
Where we're positioned is about in line with the bottom left pocket on the black spot. So I can look into the pack from where I'm seated, and it looks like the red just below the pink definitely passes. And there's another one in the middle of the pack which passes. So there is possibilities with this pack.
He needs to go into the bottom,
Very
bottom of the pack.
playing this with quite a bit of side you can see as the ball left the cue.
Yeah, he's going for the red.
He's overcooked
on the
it.
bottom of the.
And he overcooked it on the side there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Brought the ball round too much.
He was aiming for the one that's further down on the pack, just to the top left of the black.
Yep.
And he's left a tricky shot to the middle, only tricky because of hand placement. You can't really queuing over the red if you take this red to the left middle, and then between the white and the blue.
Or the double to the left corner. I think he's looking at it as
I don't think these guys will really play doubles.
In fact, Yuri has opted for the calling the miss. I think it might be replaced.
And it's not a bad choice really, because it isn't the world's worst snooker, but it's very easy to leave something on a missed skate here. It isn't that hard to hit a red, but it's very hard to hit on safe. Same shot for Moon, and the problem is he has a bit swerve on this ball, that makes it difficult. And this hit is better, but he has left the red to the bottom left corner.
So Yuri's decision actually paid off here for him. He's got a nice clean red into the corner pocket.
Indeed. He's left with a much easier shot now than the tough cut to the left middle we had on the previous attempt, so that paid off very nicely indeed. So now will he go into the pack off this? He's got a nice angle for it. And now chooses to get rid of the loose red first. Not that great actually.
I wonder if he's looking at the plant into the corner.
I wonder if he can get out of it. There is a plant into the corner. I wonder if he can get out of that with the two balls. There's a red blocking that, so we'll go for the red just below the pink.
It's a nice ball. Nicely on the blue.
Actually straighter than he wanted on the blue. That's also the problem when you're not quite at 100% of your game. You'll get, even when you get in, you get a chance. You'll keep making good putts, but you just get a fraction off perfect position, and you have to keep making a lot of effort on each shot.
You keep working the
And
shots instead
you
of
can
letting
only
the
do
shot
that for so
develop
long.
naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
He's almost queuing over the blue. It's a distraction. It's not a problem. It's simply a distraction.
It's mostly something you have to mentally block out. You have to forget that the blue is there and trust that you'll cue straight.
There we go.
Which this man obviously does.
Still a little straight on the blue. I'm not convinced I know what he's thinking about here.
There's a red that goes to the right here.
Oh, well spotted. That wasn't so easy to see from the camera angle, was it?
I actually saw it, but I didn't think he could get at that. I thought he was blocking it off.
Your eyes are younger than mine, that's why you saw it.
My glasses are thicker than yours.
Well, I missed that by a chunk.
He did play that very quickly, I must say, as well. He hasn't left enough room into this pocket for the red. I don't think he has. It's too tight, and if it is too tight, then I don't think anyone will take the risk.
You know, Yuri's pre-shot routine isn't. He doesn't spend the greatest amount of time addressing and feathering and preparing for the shot. He's very, very fluid.
Ooh, it is just squeeze past. Well, it was right behind that pocket, and I can tell you there was less than a millimeter either side then. Very confident shot from Luna. And he wants to get his lead back in this game. He got 2 frames in a row. He wants to have his lead.
Yeah.
What do you do first? Do you try and slow down your game to get the points going, or do you try to find the points by getting back into your rhythm? You already gave this quick rest check. I mean, what's your approach? Do you wait for it, or do you insist on?
No, I try to get personally, try to get back to basics, just to eliminate the potential causes for the scrappiness. So my stance is just slightly
Bottom
wrong.
left, sneaks
My
in,
arm is
wonderful.
slightly wrong.
And now all of these reds are
Or even my
open.
sighting.
The only tricky one.
So just go back to basics.
Two, I should say.
Because I know
It's
that
just in the flow. You try to find the basis of the flow and then establish it.
Other than that, there's nice
when
food.
I put
Reds
the
here for really
basics,
competent
then things
seas,
work
right?
best.
Oh,
Trying to
miscue.
get to
A massive one as
so I
well.
aspire to.
Very
Then,
unexpected.
I will also slow myself down a bit more.
Peter.
Oh, sorry, that's Peter. I'll slow myself down some.
3-1.
And then refusing to play hard shots. I'll walk away from the hard shot. By hard, I mean
On the other table, let's just come to the conclusion. Two young Swedish players have elected to have a little interval. And they go into that interval poised at 2-2. So that is a fascinating match as well, battle with these two young Swedish talents. Very evenly matched 2-0. They're having an interval, these guys aren't.
Interesting that the young guns require or take a break, and the older guys, less keen, not interested. They want to play.
Well, I don't know what your experience has been over the years, David, but I've not had many matches where an interval has even been an issue. But I've always felt that I'd rather get on with it rather than sit there waiting for 15 minutes. I'd always prefer to get on with it.
I'm with you there. Definitely with you there.
But at the same time, I also think there should be a standard. So there should be a rule of either we have intervals or we don't have intervals. Just to make it easier.
I agree with that too. Once a competition is of a certain length, then there should be a break for a designated period of time, a designated point. I'm not sure that a best of 7 frame is long enough to actually justify having breaks. In fact, in the PTCs, they're all best of 7 matches, and there are no breaks.
No, and I've played a few of these PTCs, and I must say I've only gone over 4 frames twice, but never felt like I needed a break at any stage.
And for me, being a little bit older, for me being in my 50s now, taking a break, it takes me a little while for my body to warm back up again. You know, bending over, I'm a little stiffer than I was when I came off the table. No, we'll do it.
Well, I'll enjoy it still being in my 20s now. Anyway, back to the important events of the day. This frame very tight, only 2 points in it. And again, it has to be said, it's a frame riddled with errors on both sides.
It is. I think that's the trend for what we've seen so far. 25 and 27 points respectively, with only 3 reds now left. Nothing to write home about.
Good chance for Renier to get nice position on one of the reds on the right hand side and build on his lead a little bit. But the tricky red on the bottom cushion will be required by whichever player is to win the frame.
Laid on nicely to the red into the left black pocket, or the one down the rail, depending on how he sees them. He's got a good angle on that, so he'll take that.
And this is a guaranteed position as well. Lovely pot,
Nice
guaranteed to be on the black. And he has got, I think, enough of an angle to get behind the red on the bottom cushion. So we would prefer to take that now and get it out of the way. I wonder if you can give it just the slightest nudge.
Just like that.
I was thinking the red on the bottom cushion actually. But this will do nicely.
Stun that across the table. Across the black.
He had a very small angle last time. My favorite This red just disappeared into the left middle. Now he's got a bit more of an angle to work with.
17 ahead.
This
Make
is
it
the key ball.
24. Looks like he's going to try to play to just launch the rally back.
Oh, what a
Beautifully
wonderful
done.
shot. Lovely. Perfect nudge on the red. On to the next problem. The yellow. Top left. That is also glued on the cushion. Even assuming that Yuri will be at the snookers required stage by then, he's shown that he doesn't mind playing on for 3 snookers. So Rune will definitely need that yellow.
It will come into play. It will absolutely come into play.
This is where he has to play position on it off the right hand cushion. And probably will just try to land behind it and float it in. Where's that cue ball? Is that behind the green?
Where's the cue ball going?
It is.
It's a John Virgo moment.
To come sooner or later.
But Yuri is now needing snookers and Rune obliging the Gibson type.
And that is, you know, the eternal worst error you can make. Get your opponent to the snookers required stage and then snooker yourself. That's a careless one. Luckily for Rune, it was an easy one to hit. But still, he shouldn't have been in that situation.
He's handing the table back over.
Not only that, there's a chance of a decent snooker there as well. Yuri favors clearing a few balls first, giving himself some room to work with.
I suspect he may work with the brown or the blue for snookers.
Considering the position on the brown, let's say he plays snooker off this.
Down the centre line of the table. As he snookers himself. Where's the cue ball going? Virgo in the house.
We should be careful because John Virgo is coming here next week, so we should behave ourselves.
I think John's a sense of humour.
Together with a certain Ronnie O'Sullivan, who I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him. Doing an exhibition here in Copenhagen next week.
It's sold out evening, isn't it?
Sold out both evenings actually.
Over 100 guests.
140 per evening.
150.
All tickets sold out for a while now. The first evening will be Ronnie O'Sullivan against Rune Kampe and the young, talented Danish player Gustav Raffenberg. And then the second night, people could actually pay to have a frame of Ronnie. I have no idea who's in that.
I can tell you that
be a good one.
I can tell you that one person bought 5 frames, and one person bought 1 frame, and each frame is 1,500 euros. So one person has paid 7,500 euros to play Ronnie for 5 frames.
Do we know if he can actually hold the cue?
Do you know the person?
No, but he could be the best player in the world, but just wanting to play that much. Even if you're a decent player.
I suspect he's a Chinese businessman.
There's something
Kind of thing I would see from that.
not
Or
just,
Russian
not just
oligarch.
buying 1 or 2 frames.
Five.
Well, the advantage of getting down this far to where there's only pink and black left is that Yuri only requires 1 snooker. Pink and black on the spot. It's not that easy to sneak pink behind the black here, but it is possible. There's a shot of 4 cushions. But that would need quite a lot of side. Tricky to judge, especially if you're not very used to a table like this.
Mm-hmm. Yuri, with Yuri's experience and pedigree, he'll have a number of ideas, a number of mental maps of how this can be plotted. And this is the one you were talking about, very similar to the one you were talking about. If it doesn't go in, dear me.
That is a careless one. I don't think he had enough control of of the pink on that shot. That was a very risky shot to take on, and it's cost him the frame. So Rune Kampe takes a further frame, gets back into the lead at 3 frames to 2. Sure. You can never control the pink or something.
I thought he was trying to bring it down. It's sort of,
I thought white thin off the pink, up, and then side, and then down behind. I'm not sure if that went.
yeah,
Maybe. The corner pocket would be in the way.
might have been. It's difficult to say on the television screen. We don't get the true geometry. So how old are you then? You're still in your 20s, you're saying? Or are you just bullshitting me?
Well, only just. I'm 28, so hardly counts.
What was I doing when I was 28? I have to think back now. I think I just moved to Germany.
Shagging and drinking?
Most likely, yeah.
Fucking terrible. I'm settled down. I have a wife and a house and a garden. Fucking miserable.
Well, you can still shag and drink, it's just the same beer in the same shack.
What I can say, I was very happy because I got rid of white 1-0. I wasn't even seeking white 2-0. She sort of came to me, and it's been brilliant ever since.
It was an occasion to uninstall the latest version and wait for something better to come along.
It certainly wasn't an upgrade. It was like moving from to operating system.
So when we get
No, she was malware. You see,
she was
malware.
At least not spyware.
The mute is not mute. It says mute.
But she picks. I mean, they're 4 minutes behind, so when she hears something, it's over already. I think they're 4 minutes behind.
This one.
It's also the refs. It's also the refs.
There's no move back.
This is a shambles.
So if the break is bad, it's still wearing white and he's on top of it. It's like there's Nielsen. The spoof movies were going to
I'm very disappointed with the mute button isn't actually a mute button.
For now it's going to be the uncut button.
Ja. Der var tastet så meget næste gang. Altså, du ved, hvad du har tastet for meget ind, så hvis det bliver, hvis du taster 7 for meget ind, så må du trække. Jeg ved ikke, hvor du er trækker den der. Det er også bare skrive i aften, jeg trækker.
Nej.
Hvad?
Chop. En sort kop kaffe.
Vi har kun hvide kopper.
Yes. Du skal helt tilfreds ud.
Ja. Jeg var ikke helt tilfreds med den lyserød der. Du var ikke...
Wasn't really by design. Det var ikke lige by design.
Is that true? Oh shit. That could be fun at your sport.
So we get to do the final. We do the final.
Okay.
And Dave will do the riffing.
Cool.
I'll be a good one.
So I'll ask some stupid questions and you hopefully provide all the good answers.
If you're nice.
Måned.
Måned.
On the drive here, on mute. On the drive here,
Is there
11 o'clock or whatever, in the taxi, we noticed a young Copenhagen resident enjoying his tin of Måned.
I can't work out if there's a mute or not.
One thing we can do is we can just switch into other things. That's a good idea.
Any new beer bottle room and you
Do you want some matches?
we off to the race.
So frame 6 of this Nordic Championship semi-final between 12 times Danish champion Rune Kampa and 4 times Finnish champion Jiri Virtanen. It's been a pretty tight battle, all things considered. A lot of mistakes on both sides. Neither of the players really flowing yet. Still impossible to call, impossible to say how this match will turn out.
Which is a good thing. Oh dear.
Ooh, catching the pink, just avoids dropping. He has still left a red here for Jiri, for the left bottom corner.
It's also a little lucky that the pink actually stopped the red, travelling closer to the middle bag, making it easier for Yeti.
Yeah, and the red doesn't pass the pink into the pocket.
It's a clumsy miss. He won't be happy with that.
And again, Jiri gets a chance and then gives it right back. He's done that a few times in this game, and that will start to play on his mind. There's nothing in the pack that goes. The only red that Rune really has is the second one from the bottom, which you can get at.
Where's the position shot? Where's the position shot? I think that pink. Yeah. He's gonna do that.
Oh, it did sneak past.
It's a good ball.
I can't believe he got that past because I'm right behind that pocket and that definitely did not look on. On the other table, the players have resumed as well. 2 all there between Benjamin McCabe and Simon Lindblom. Rune with the chance, and this time he's really got to take the full benefit of this. Get some points on the board. They're struggling to hold position in this game.
It's been about 75 years.
What's with 75 years?
Listen, the street it's been about 75 years, so even if there isn't a mute, there's not many people who read.
That's 75 viewers.
Yeah.
It's not old.
Er der nogle klubber nede i ugen?
That's a nice shot now.
Yeah, but where does he go now?
This red, he was on it and pink. I reckon.
Yeah, just stop the cue. But the cue is going to be tricky over the pack.
And he sticks right in the middle of the pack there. And I'll be lucky not to leave something. There's a red that goes to the left bottom corner.
If you can just get past that.
Any type of position is tricky here.
It looks like
Screw
there's
your way out of the pack.
trouble getting out that a little bit. So I think he could have pulled that white out of the pack and left himself better on the pink. He left himself on the pink at all, really.
I think he is on the pink here.
It looks pretty tight. I was thinking he could have drawn out of the pack upwards, left himself guaranteed on the pink. Now the chance was that he was sneaking himself behind the red. So it was a riskier shot to take on, but that is a nice pot.
The advantage of Yuri's approach there by playing deeper down towards the black spot to take the pink is it allows him a narrower angle to travel more for less power.
So once again, chance for the 2006 European Masters champion. Prestigious title win here for the Finn. He's very experienced. Bruno would love to hang on to this title in his home club. It'd be a significant achievement for him. This tournament is not easy to win. There's a lot of strength and depth in the Nordic countries these days. 5 teams were here. From Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Iceland and Finland. And all 5 of those had potential tournament winners in them. So it's a very strong contingent here. I didn't see it. I didn't even see it had finished.
Du kan til Oscar her, så kan du få det.
I think it's McCabe.
Ja, det
Look at this person.
I'm probably there.
Tricky red on the bottom cushion.
Just don't want to
Overcut it. On the other table, we can confirm that Benjamin McCabe is now 3-2 up on his countryman. That match is staying very close. An aircraft on there.
Is he already 3-2? You can see that. Okay. Also, this is not the room I played against.
And that white ran further than he intended. Neither of these players really have the cue ball on the string just yet. These tables are very fast, so it's very difficult to play pinpoint accurate position. But that is what is required, especially at this stage of the competition. And I've had a few days competition already to get used to conditions. This is the 4th day of the tournament. Semi-finals now both going on, and then the final is scheduled to start around 3 o'clock. I'm not sure we'll make that. It might be a bit delayed depending on how long these matches end up taking. If this one goes all the way, then we're definitely not making 3 o'clock. And both of these semis are best of 7, and then the final will be best of 7 as well. And the group matches were, of course, best of 5.
From my perspective, Ron, I'm looking forward to the final. It's definitely this year. But I'm fortifying myself just now with some quick food, as I'll be refereeing the final. I need to keep my energy level up. Where these 4 great players should beat each other.
Yeah, that's a good point here. I mean, it's not as strict here as it would be on a main tour tournament, but the referees are often forgotten, and the players, they have the chance to sit down and sort of detach themselves from the match a little bit. But the referees are constantly on their feet. They're constantly concentrated, whichever player is at the table, and they constantly have to keep their eye on what's going on. So these matches, when they get long, it's very intense for a referee. It's very, very tiring, actually.
So we don't have, as a referee, you don't only have to keep your eye on the ball, Ron, but you need to keep your eye on the cueing arms and the waistcoats and the position of the ball in case it's a miss. There's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, there's there's plenty of other aspects. There's a few spectators in here who might misbehave themselves, so you have to keep an eye on that. You have to keep an eye on your position as well. Where do you stand so that you can see what you need to see but are not in the player's way. There's plenty to keep track of as a referee. It's definitely a skill all of its own. Mm-hmm. 20 all in the 6th frame. Still evenly poised. Still difficult to call a winner. And at the moment there's still mistakes coming from both players. So if it stays scrappy like this to the end, then either player could really win.
They really could. This is certainly not the most beautiful snooker match we've had of a tournament, but there's still a great deal of tension and uncertainty from both sides.
There was a wonderful game yesterday, the quarter-final between Simon Lindblom and Christopher Watts, who's the referee of this game currently. And Watts 3-1 up at one stage and playing very nicely indeed, and Lindblom came back to beat him 4-3.
Yes,
a lovely game to watch. Unfortunately, I ended up on an outside table, not on the street. Watts would have been very, very disappointed after that. He had the match in the ball in his hand.
He did the brown. It was down to the colours. The brown was in the jaws of the pocket up at the yellow. And Chris misread the angle slightly, potted the brown, and followed through enough to beat the white. And Simon was unrelenting after that, cleared up to win the match.
Yeah, I remember that brown, and I can't believe he went off on that. He was straight behind it. He should have seen that he went for wrong.
Well, apropos straight and should have seen, that was a fundamental error, which is very uncharacteristic of Luna.
He was very, very close to that blue. Still shouldn't have missed that. He's left a difficult red for Yuri. The advantage of which is that it guarantees position. And it does help following the red.
I think he may be fortunate in the position of the brown blocking that red. Perhaps not.
Tricky to tell from what we've got here, and Runa's body language will tell a lot. He's looking downwards.
Yeah.
Towards the black end on the table. So I hazard a guess and say that red doesn't go.
I see the referee is also having a look at the possibility of that shot. It's also an indicator of whether something can be done, or is it a quarter ball, half ball off.
What are the safety options? Well, they're actually a bit limited due to the red on the right-hand side, for example. Can't really easily be hit because of where the white is. It'll be obstructed by the green. Maybe he can see enough of the red involved to play safe off, but otherwise, on one of these, and it can actually be a shot to nothing, this red.
He's lining it up for the left corner pocket.
Missed that by an absolute mile, and the problem with this is that he's nearly guaranteed to leave the red and ball gone.
It is. Or the one in the blue pocket. Yuri now has a choice.
I'm amazed by how much he missed that by. That was like 40 centimeters. It's just a feat.
Not what we expect to see from the.
Now then, Yuri.
He's travelled very far. He's out of position on every corner of the table.
It's again the same problem that's been plaguing both players. They can't really get the cue ball under control. And its first two frames, I thought they had the cue ball under control much better than the rest of the match, actually.
Absolutely. He's shaking his head in disbelief.
We could also argue that the fourth frame, which Yuri won fairly convincingly, he's playing fine in that.
He did.
But all the other frames so far, the scrapping of frames, both players have struggled, both players have made errors, and both players, most of them, they keep running out of position.
Yeah.
And that is what leads to these scrappy frames. They get their chances.
Well, let's see what he does here.
Simon Lindblom at the table, trying to force a decider with his countryman, Benjamin McKay. Literally behind in that frame. So that's a few points. Rule it. He could play a similar shot to nothing to the one he attempted last time. There's still a red there, which goes to the bottom left. He's got to get closer to this than last time. That's in.
Doesn't get any closer than that one. No. Right down the middle.
In the age-old problem position, the yellow does go to the top left.
He may even be tempted simply to play safe here. I think that's what he's doing.
I think it's a wise decision because that yellow isn't a guaranteed pot by any means. The position is even more difficult, and both reds are on the cushion. So landing on them would leave you with a difficult pot as well.
It would.
This being a nearly guaranteed safety, therefore the right choice. Good hit from Yuri.
It's dangerous. That red's possible.
It is.
Although,
And really being 14 points up might be worth the risk. He's not that difficult of a cut. There we are. And now we have to consider the scoreline. We're 3-2 ahead. So if he clears a few here, then he'll be into the final. So starting to get towards the business end of this. Yuri's had his chances to try and force a decider. But there's a lot hanging on this pink and then the red on the right hand side. But just about snuck in.
well, you know, I'm pretty confident Rune didn't even consider trying to get on that red. He just wanted to put the pink away and then see where the white finishes to then decide if he's going to pot or play safe. He's in a position to do either there. Depends on how he feels.
21 points to lead, 35 on. So he needs the red. And if he takes black or pink, then that snooker is required. We've seen Yuri play on before, so he'll definitely need the ball colors as well, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. This is also a good position for Yuri to lay up a nice snooker. The centre line is providing an interesting barrier to hide behind. And the yellow and the bob cushion is also a very tidy place to run in behind.
You know, you could play the red downwards off the left-hand side of the table and then play the cue ball to the right and try and land it behind the yellow.
What's looking for the yellow?
I favor the more simple solution.
You can play shots or nothing here, but if it wobbles, he's probably in a position to regret it.
I know this is a very thin cut, I'm not sure I'd risk it. That's quite a good leave, actually. But the red does go, but you're tight on the top cushion. Ooh, he got close to that. He got close to that, but he did play it with an element of safety. The white's finished all the way up the block.
Red appears to be open, or at least half ball open, which could invite a pot attempt in the corner.
I'm wondering the same thing as Rune is. Does that slide into the middle? Tough one to call. And Rune's been down there looking at it for a while. Where does that go? If it goes, he wins the match. Because then he's guaranteed on the color and he's in both colors. It does go. Now then.
No high color
Anywhere
available.
but there.
Blue or green are still workable.
Anywhere but there. Long blue or long green.
Danish contingent in this snooker club are becoming quite excited.
Felt like a storm in here as everyone around me breathed in at the same time.
In fact, the window snapped shut, didn't it?
We'll try to behave ourselves here. There is plenty of safety opportunity here. You can play downwards, maybe even with the rest. Leave the white nicely behind, pink and black.
Playing a safety, he's going to tie up the black and pink as well. Oh, he went for the
Oh
palm
my
on
word,
the
did he
black.
go for that? Did he go for that?
He did go
wow.
for that. He has snookered himself on the yellow, but it's a pretty easy out. It's 29 ahead, 27 on the table.
I cannot believe he went for that. Unbelievable. It is a shocker though, considering that he's nearly guaranteed to snooker himself. He does make the hit. So that means the man coming to the table requires snookers.
Yeah. 29 and 27. Only one. And we know from Yuri's pedigree that he's quite capable of getting more than one. Chase after a few.
Most of the colors on their spots. Middle pocket in the way.
He's very lucky, actually, to
Nice
find
nudge
that
on the
job,
middle
but
pocket and waffle
up to
snooker.
Snooker very safely in behind the green.
He got a nice favourable nudge on the middle pocket, but that only improves the cue ball slightly. Still a great attempt. And regardless of whether or not that middle pocket influenced it or not, Rune is still in trouble here. In front of his own crowd. He would love to get to the final here.
Although I
So
know,
close, he's got 1 foot in the final.
I know this is quite a big finish element in the snooker ball. Because he's in with his home crowd and his home club. There's a lot of the other side in there for them too.
Well, the Finnish contingent has turned up
Good
in
shot.
numbers.
Good shot.
Lovely hit.
Let's see what Yuri's next shot will be.
Tried to sneak in behind the green.
Not a good one.
Tried to sneak in behind the green. Cue ball headed the wrong way, and so did the yellow. Yuri's really very uncharacteristically struggled in this game. Both players have struggled, it must be said. I think Yuri missed a couple more easy pots than Rune did. So you can never count players like this out. It's only one snooker required. But does this sneak into the right top corner? It does.
He snookered himself again.
I hesitate to say where's the cue ball going, but
He's quite happy with that.
Yeah.
this is quite easy. I mean, yes, there's a sneak on to the left, but it's much better to just snooker behind the brown here. It's a guaranteed snooker. She doesn't actually hit very well. The numbers are starting to add up.
31 now.
Two snookers required now. 31 behind, 25 on.
I think he also miscued that. He miscued that.
12-time Danish champion has made it to the final of this Nordic Championship. 4-2 the final score, and Rune Kampen will be back later this afternoon in this tournament's final. Just having a quick look at this Swedish game in the corner. Still going on.
31-21.
There's not much in the current frame. It seems still 3-2 to Benjamin McCabe.
Good job.
I think this one's done.
Hmm?
Should die.
Probably battery soon. Yeah, batteries. You said one.
I'll take these.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Distinct pleasure.
Good one.
Du lukker du. Laver den her på dig. Det skal du ikke vide. Jeg har det, så var den her desværre, skal jeg sige. Men det var den du også. Det var begge dele. Han har også fint spil. Tror han er god. Han går rundt lidt til det. Det vil ikke stå. Vinder han stod Marianne. Det gør han også. Så han var ret sådan en. Da I stod op mod Svend, så var han anderledes af i 5 år. Så du den skulle spille? Selvom de giver hinanden, altså så du ved bare, at du er næste år, og vi sidder med det, så er det været sådan her. Så er det ikke godt, det jeg kan aldrig vide det. Jeg kan aldrig vide det. Han lukker nok noget, så får teste her noget. Det var ikke åbent, det var meget mere, det var ikke fysisk selv. Soveværelsesgulv. Skal du svare? Okay. Jeg må nok sove. Så man skal tage chili med og vælge det sådan med 5 dele. Okay. Og men tag det er jo simpelthen bange, hvor man skal blive længere. Og det er nu ikke lige at tænke over. Det havde jeg ikke sagt til. Det er 2 dage. Hun har ikke gjort det. Det er også det. Det man kan bedst, det man starter med. Det er ikke særlig gode nu, for de skal jo være i Sverige, altså. Det er det, der mest du siger. Jeg har sagt til hende, Nu er det med blåt øje, så skal jeg ikke svine.
Hvad er det?
3-3. Så man kan godt sige, at det bliver halvspændet nu.
Jeg vil sige, det var for mig like.
annoying because from there,
Og det er lidt, den skal møde.
Three to the other way. Can you mean Somebody remembers to switch the batteries before, because I think one
Yes,
just to be sure we'll switch both.
Ja, den topflaske.
And remember that I can't mute.
Well, I'm still not sure about that. I think it's because we have one on and one off. And they're not directional, so they have everything. I know, it's weird. It's just not called shit. Well, divided by
Exactly. The creep or
Isn't there a mic in there, or is it just the reps?
Yeah, part here. At the tonsil.
The mute definitely doesn't work. Yeah, I know, but then the mute definitely doesn't work.
Er det kaffe eller Kafka? Er det kaffe eller Kafka? Det kan ikke lade sig gøre. Ikke alle sammen.
Er det spændende?
Er du
Hvad er det, der ligger på? Det ved man ikke endnu. Det er deres sidste kamp, de skal spille nu. Så den, der vinder den her kamp, de skal møde ude. Ham, der sidder i sofaen derhenne. Du kan se ham herfra, men han sidder i sofaen. Han har lige vundet herhenne. Ja, han har lige vundet her. Så han skal møde en af dem, der vinder der.
Så var vi samtlige klubber, vi fik madpakke til
Hvorfor er det, at dem, der tror, der vinder, hvorfor er det så ikke 2 modeller?
Fordi at det her, det er kun semifinalen, det er ikke det endelige endnu. Så ham, altså nu har Rune vundet her, og så er der en, der kommer til at vinde derhen, og de to, der vinder her, skal så møde hinanden. Og så dem, der vinder af den kamp, de får pokalen deroppe.
Og jeg står og kigger lidt på det. Men hvorfor er det roligt?
Det tror jeg også.
Jeg så Danny i fjernsynet.
Gjorde du det? Nå, var det i går?
Det var i dag.
You only got 3 sets, right? Yeah. Pull the plugs out and see if that makes a difference, so you can confirm.
Jeg har fået det.
Det var ikke.
Men hun var, jeg har ikke haft det endnu. Jeg har ikke haft det endnu.
Stella, 2 China-boxer.
But then those kicks and things like that, I didn't so but always nice to play. I'm happy enough. I enjoy my stay here.
I think I still don't understand
Oh, you mean discussions? Yeah, but I try to play control. And it was a little bit high, but with practice, I understand that big thing from and then what I think travel like this. I try to play here and here. And this here. This is why I'm really doing that. Like this. Here. But because I'm very not friends with these ones. I'm not friends with these ones. So I do what I see very big ones. So in my life, I'm there. But then I just something that's not
Like things around the house as well. Those are what you can do. Real life things against
it's fine.
So the US Champions. Hvad står der på det?
CBS. Ja. Jeg har en aftale med CBS.
Du var ikke weekend. Ja. Så torsdag.
Det så rigtigt, ja.
Jeg vil også gerne have penge for. Er det okay?
Tak for det.
Hus. Der kom 65 i bagsving her, så det var bare noget der omkring, så skal vi tage den bag.
Cappuccino.
Du så det blankt ud, der sagde til, men hedder den lidt.
Du har ikke noget kæve?
Ingenting. Og du må ikke sige ordet, hun har sagt kage. Vi skal høre på hende igen.
Det er okay.
Det er
Jeg vil godt have æg og ej.
Han må råbe op, når han finder ud af det.
Hvad siger du?
Han må råbe op, når han finder ud af det. Det er mange gange. Hvis man går hen væk, så er det gå væk, så er det væk.
Det ligger bare.
Det ligger bare til. Jeg satte peber, er simpelthen blevet tør. Det er noget helt blod. Sandet.
Der står op på trappen, der var ryger.
Det er der ikke mere. Det står på trappen. Det er ikke ganske skidt. Der var nogen, der væltede med æggene, der lavede op. Det var træt og råd.
Ja.
Her er table.
Gør I tirsdag?
Er der udsat?
Fredag er der. Lørdag mangler lige en beskyld.
Det er sikkert. Now, hello?
No, it's up again. See, it's not that one.
Okay, so we go back.
Because this is the microphones and whatever is causing the other thing.
Just turn this on again.
You did?
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Well, maybe it does work. Leave it like this for a while.
No, because you can see we're still recording, and I've turned these off now. So we need to go back into the source of this thing.
Whatever I did first worked.
Wait,
If you turn this down and then turn the mics on, that works. Without changing anything else.
If you do what? If you turn what on?
If you turn this one down entirely,
Yeah.
because that's slightly on now.
Yeah.
Now that's disabled, yeah?
Yeah.
Now turn the mic on.
Oh, not that one. That one that has a mic.
Turn it on. And just say something and then it'll take 2 minutes.
Let's just see if something goes in here.
No, we have to wait 2 minutes to see if that works. Okay, now we leave it like this for a couple of minutes to see what happens. Did you minimize it?
Yeah, just minimized everything. I haven't turned it off. I just want to see if I can find the.
Leave it be otherwise. You don't want to break anything.
No, we're not.
I'm a Mac guy as well, so I'm lost on Windows.
System here. No. Devices here. Print scan is. Should be in here.
There's a huge delay, there's like a 4 or 5 minute delay.
Exactly.
Massive. Good, and it works. It's not loud. But this does work.
Hello.
The volume is too low now. Do those have volume control?
Hello. That doesn't work, no.
I wonder if these even come in at all. Maybe we've just been doing it on the internal mic.
No, they can hear it. They can hear it on the screen.
Yeah, but if that's coming from the computer's mic rather than the external ones. That's the internal mic on the computer.
Yep.
Along with these, I think. Maybe not along with these.
Congratulations to Tyler and Prize, eh? Already signed these.
Hallo. Det er lidt bøvlet det her. Jamen det er fordi at at mikrofonen i computeren samler alt lyden op, så når vi putter den på mute, så går den lige ind igennem mikrofonen på computeren. Så når vi står og taler om ølfisse og hornmusik, og tror den er muted.
Hallo.
Forresten det ikke.
Jeg troede vi var så gode, vi har lige pludselig fået 10 dobbelt seerne.
De er sådan, hold da kæft, knalde han en hund her på tøj, hvor kommer man da?
Snupper lige fisen.
Ja, lige. Ej, nu har vi sgu.
Ikke navnlig.
Så jeg tror, der er noget med her, man kan gå ind og sige speakers, headphones, Realtek, high definition. Men jeg tør sgu ikke. Hvem er det, der står for det her?
Jeg går til snart. Jeg har lige styr på det, tror jeg.
Hvem har styr på det?
Nej, men den kan jeg altså ikke spise. De er også sådan lidt rejselag.
Så vi skal prøve at finde ud af, hvor mikrofonen i computeren samler lyden op. Og det er jo noget ved at numse, altså. Hvad siger du? Hvor er han gået? Kan du ikke få en anden? Bliver de færdige dernede?
Nej, jeg kunne ikke mere. Så jeg kan ikke engang til, så jeg kan ikke hvor der så lige ud på gangen der. Har du taget i den her så?
Nej, vi har altså tv-teknologi der er helt fra. Dem har vi ikke her. En stor serie. Ja, hvad navn? Ja, det er også sjovt. Er det det, der var korte?
60 cm, ikke? Cirka 95. Det ser du ikke til mig? Så nu 15 efter. Kan jeg sætte dig bag med kaffe eller mad? Vil du ikke noget andet? Der er blevet popcorn til. Skal du bruge? Just announcing your the wrapping. I boksen er Hans Peter med snooker-data og rækketing. Hey, du er ikke gået i gang uden at du har snakket med mig, vel?
Nej, jeg skulle bare lige se, hvad det hedder.
Det er min tiramisu. Jeg skal have en af dem. Hvis jeg ikke når at få en, så dør du.
Yes.
Dør du. For det dør du.
Og du siger, jeg er oppe i bakken. Put dem bare i køleskabet.
Jeg skal have en tiramisu nu. Skal du ikke? Jeg vil have jordbærkage.
Nej, jeg vil gerne.
Der mangler håndklæder derude.
Jeg fylder op.
Hej Julia. Julia. Hvad siger du?
Jeg glæder mig til fredag, Copenhagen. Jeg glæder mig til fredag. Kan man tage en selfie nu? Nej, kun dem, der spiller, men der bliver lavet af.
Stella, er der ikke nogen derude?
Der er ikke tid til det.
Exactly. That'll teach them.
Another cake there, David? You hear good people come?
Ja.
Nej, jeg skal ikke med chokolade. Det er ikke plads til barnet. Jeg skal ikke et fad til med chokolade. Så vil du det. Du bare fylde op.
Så var det tricks, når vi står der. Så har jeg ikke gået på købmandsskolen.
Hvor er det?
No, can you cut it off?
Can you cut it off? Somebody goes in like,
Yeah.
You must stop streaming?